Morning has come, arise and greet the day. Dance with joy and sing a song of gladness. The light of hope it shines upon each face. May it bring faith to guide our journey home. A new day dawns, once more the gift is given. Wonder fills this moment shared together. The light of peace here shines upon each face. May it bring faith to guide our journey home. Open our eyes to see that life abounds. Open hearts to welcome it among us. The light of love here shines upon each face. May it bring faith to guide our journey home.
Good morning and welcome to Live Oak Unitarian Universalist Church. We are so glad that you could be here. With everything that is happening in the world today, to have a community where we can come together on a weekly basis to talk about what is important and true. I think that it's one of the best spiritual disciplines there is. If this is the first time that you are joining us, I invite you after the service to go to liveoakuu.org. There you're going to find all kinds of things. You're going to find a place where you can sign up for our weekly email newsletter. It's great. It gives you an idea about all the things that are happening, because even with us being all online, we are staying very busy and we've got a lot of activities and events that you might be interested in. There's a place where you can click on if you just would like some more information about Live Oak, and one of our members from the membership team will be sure to contact you via email. And if you'd like to actually talk with someone, we do that too. Right after the service, we have a Zoom room set up. You'll see the link. It says just for visitors. There'll be a couple of members in there where you can just come in, introduce yourself, and ask them any questions you might have. Get to know them and maybe even let them get to know you a little bit. It is tradition in Unitarian Universalist churches that we begin our services by lighting a flaming chalice. And so if you have a candle or a chalice near, please draw it towards you as we light our chalices together.
This morning's big idea is I Am Every Good Thing by Derek Barnes, illustrated by Gordon C. James. Dedicated to Tamir Rice, Trayvon Martin, E.J. Bradford, Jordan Edwards, Michael Brown, Jordan Davis, and Julian Mallory. And by the illustrator, dedicated to his son Gabriel and all little brothers like him. I am a non-stop ball of energy, powerful and full of light. I am a go-getter, a difference maker, a leader. I am every good thing that makes the world go round. You know, like gravity or the glow of moonbeams over a field of brand new snow. I am good to the core, like the center of a cinnamon roll. Yeah, that good. I am skateboard tricks, scraped knees and elbows. But you know what? I am right back on my feet again. I am one eye open, one eye closed, peeking through a microscope, gazing through a telescope, checking out the spaces around me, and plotting out those far-off places I have yet to go, but will. I am a gentleman and a scholar. I am kind and polite, like "Yes, ma'am," and "Yes, sir," helping my grandmother cross the street and saying "Bless you" when a stranger has to sneeze. I'm a cool breeze, a perfect paper airplane that glides for blocks, for miles, forever. I am a roaring flame of creativity. I am a lightning round of questions and a star-filled sky of solutions. I am an explorer planting a flag on every square foot of this planet where I belong. I am a sponge soaking up information, knowledge, and wisdom. I want it all, and I am all ears. I am Saturday mornings in the summertime. I am 2 bounces and a front flip off the diving board. I am hilarious. I am the life of the party. I am that smile forming on your face right now. I'm the boom bap boom boom bap when the bass line thumps and the kick drum jumps. I'm the perfect beat, the perfect rhyme, keeping everything on point and always on time, but you already knew that. I am a grand slam, bases fully loaded. I'm a nasty 2-handed dunk holding on to the rim just to remind you that I'm still the man. Believe that. I am the undisputed champion. I am a highlight reel of magnificence. I am the celebration, the applause, and the standing ovation. I am victory. I am a brother, a son, a nephew, a favorite cousin, a grandson. I am a friend. I am real. I am tight hugs, a hand to hold, a shoulder to cry on if you have to. I hope you never have to. I am here. Although I am something like a superhero, every now and then I am afraid. I am not what they might call me, and I will not answer to any name that is not my own. I am what I say I am. I am that sound in the forest when the mighty tree falls. I am waves crashing gently on the shore. I am a force of nature, a miracle, a blessing. I am brave. I am hope. I am my ancestors' wildest dream. I am worthy of success, of respect, of safety, of kindness, of happiness. And without a shadow of a doubt, I am worthy to be loved. I am worthy to be loved.
justice, equality, democracy, to the enemies of these great words. We say no, no, no. Freedom, justice, equality, democracy. 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 America, America is a dream. America is a
The Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. entered Morehouse College at the age of 15 under a special wartime program for promising high school students. At the age of 18, his article, The Purpose of Education, was printed in the school paper. This is an excerpt from that article. As I engage in the so-called bull sessions around and about the school, I too often find that most college men have a misconception of the purpose of education. Most of the brethren think that education should equip them with the proper instruments of exploitation so that they can forever trample over the masses. Still others think that education should furnish them with noble ends rather than a means to an end.
It seems to me that education has a twofold function to perform in the life of man and in society. The one is utility, and the other is culture. Education must enable a person to become more efficient, to achieve with increasing facility the legitimate goals of his life. Education must also train one for quick, resolute, and effective thinking. To think incisively and to think for oneself is very difficult. We are prone to let our mental life become invaded by legions of half-truths, prejudices, and propaganda. At this point, I often wonder whether or not education is fulfilling its purpose. A great majority of the so-called educated people do not think logically and scientifically. To save man from the morass of propaganda, in my opinion, is one of the chief aims of education. Education must enable one to sift and weigh evidence, to discern the true from the false, the real from the unreal, and the facts from the fiction.
The function of education, therefore, is to teach one to think intensively and to think critically. But education, which stops with efficiency, may prove the greatest menace to society. The most dangerous criminal may be the person gifted with reason, but with no morals.
We must remember that intelligence is not enough. Intelligence plus character, that is the goal of true education. The complete education gives one not only power of concentration, but worthy objectives upon which to concentrate. If we are not careful, our colleges will produce a group of closed-minded, unscientific, illogical propagandists consumed with immoral acts. Be careful, brethren. Be careful, teachers.
In the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s most famous speech, I Have a Dream, he spoke of his hope that one day his children would be judged not by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. Here we are in 2021. People are still being judged for the color of their skin, but it seems that to hold anyone accountable to their character or their lack of character is an anachronism. Clearly, the events leading up to, of, and after January the 6th show us that right now in our country what we have is a significant deficit of character. So what is character anyway? I imagine that for many of us, it's kind of like that thing they say about art. I know it when I see it, and I certainly know when I am not seeing it. But we can actually move to a framework that has been established. It's by this organization called the Josephson Institute for Ethics, and they've come up with a really simple rubric. They go into schools and they teach it. They teach it at the elementary level. They teach it at the college level. They go into businesses to try and teach ethics. So this is something that can be communicated and understood across the ages and across different contexts. The Josephson Institute calls these elements the 6 pillars of character: trustworthiness, respect, responsibility, fairness, caring, and citizenship. Seems pretty simple, and it is. I think that's one of the best things about it, that it is simple concepts that even a child can understand, and yet the more context you have, the more life experience you have, the deeper you can go into all of these. So let's start with the first one, trustworthiness. To a child, we can explain this in some very simple ways. Although perhaps some adults need a remedial course in these simple concepts, trustworthiness is about things like don't lie, don't steal, don't cheat. It's about the things involved so that we can each be a trustworthy person. As adults, this whole concept of trustworthiness can get deeper and more complex, and that's a good thing. For instance, in terms of trustworthiness, who is it that can trust you, right? I don't care if a Nazi can trust me. Frankly, I hope that they can't. But there are other people that I hope can put their trust in me. And we saw a wonderful example of this on January 6th. There are a lot of complaints right now about police officers, and for some, deservedly so. But one police officer acted as a hero, and there's no telling how many lives he saved. Eugene Goodman is a police officer at the Capitol. And as other people have retold it, and there's even been a video of this happening, as the insurrectionists were coming through the Capitol, he saw them, and he was the only officer in that area, and so he was greatly outnumbered. He picked up his baton, and he noted that if they went one particular direction, it was going to put them with all of the Congress people. So he thought very fast, and he sort of goaded them on so that they would wind up chasing him, a whole group, this whole mob, chasing him so that he could lead them away from the others who were vulnerable. He exemplified the idea of police as being there to protect and to serve. That was trustworthy. The second pillar of character is respect. And we've talked about this one before because it can be kind of a challenge depending on how you understand respect. And it can be a source of a lot of confusion. Being Unitarian Universalists, I think this may be one of the mistaken ideas that people often have about our religion when they first come in, is that because we are respectful, then that means that we are going to respect all ideas that are out there. No, no. Hopefully this week has reminded us there are some ideas that absolutely should not be respected. We should denounce them. We should call people to repent of them. However, we can do that in a respectful way. We can treat people with respect, even if we do not respect what they're doing or what they are saying or their character. Treating someone with respect is not about them. Treating someone with respect, that's in our dance space, and that speaks to our character. That speaks to who we are. That does not mean compromising our core values. That doesn't mean trying to find a middle way with people who say things that are abhorrent. It absolutely does not mean seeking to find unity through trying to act like, oh, well, bygones will be bygones. It's simply a matter of treating people with respect. The third pillar is responsibility. Again, all of these concepts are meant to apply across the ages. And so, we teach things as it is developmentally appropriate. If I have a 4-year-old and I'm talking about responsibility, I'm probably going to start with something like being willing to pick up your socks off of the floor. But as a child matures, even before they become an adult, there is a richness that we can go into with this whole idea of responsibility. And again, this crosses also into systems theory and this whole idea of what are you responsible for? What is someone else responsible for? As a pillar of character, responsibility, it means also looking at responsibility that others have given to us and seeing that as an honor and asking ourselves, what all does that ask of me? To be an elected leader, that's a lot of responsibility that a lot of people have given to them. And for those of us who are not elected leaders, we have a responsibility to hold others accountable, to hold those leaders accountable, to get on the phone or prepare to vote them out of office, try to get them recalled if what they have done has been egregious. We hold a responsibility as well, which I think leads into the fourth pillar of fairness. Fairness, in many instances, means following the rules, or if we disagree with the rules, working to get them changed, not simply deciding that some people should have to play by those rules, but others shouldn't. As we think about teaching this pillar to children, we can think about it in terms of teaching them about taking turns, right? This is the reason why Candyland has existed for so long. It's a way of teaching young children about that little element of character, things like taking turns and being a good sport. As adults, this is a time right now where if we are truly going to embrace fairness as being a matter of character, not only for individuals, but the character of the nation, we have a deep, deep well to dive into. What does fairness mean when a white person's ancestors have been able to accumulate wealth generation after generation after generation. And Black Americans' ancestors were enslaved. And then even after slavery, there were so many lending laws and where you could buy a house and how you could accumulate wealth, all of the limitations on there. If we are going to truly make fairness a matter of not only our own character, but the character of our nation, this is one that we have to look into deeply and be willing to make some changes, including reparations. It's only fair. The fifth pillar is caring. Right now, it seems like caring has, as a concept, has been maligned. It has been seen as weak. As we've watched the atrocities pile up year after year of this past administration, we kept being confused and just not understanding what was happening. Perhaps those in charge just didn't understand until finally some writers came out and they said, no, the cruelty is the point. On Facebook this week, I asked people about who were individuals that they admired for their moral character. And a name that came up again and again and again was Jimmy Carter. And Jimmy Carter, in the past and still today, exemplifies what it means to have caring as a part of your character. Because if you look at the work that he has done, it's all been about caring for others, working for Habitat for Humanity, building houses for people who need houses, or his big project of trying to eradicate the guinea worm. He heard about what the guinea worm did to individuals, how painful it was, and the fact that this was a problem that genuinely could be solved. And he jumped into action, putting all of his resources toward it, and they've nearly eradicated it. The sixth and last pillar is citizenship. I love that this is something that we teach even our youngest children. And for we Unitarian Universalists, I think that we have a wide-ranging understanding of citizenship and what it calls for us to do. I think the very best definition of citizenship also happened on January 6th, in amidst all of the horror. At the end of the evening, there was a representative who was down on his hands and knees with a trash bag, picking up trash. He's Congressman Andy Kim. Barely anyone was around at that time, but someone saw him down there and took a picture and asked him some questions about it. And here's what he said. He said, when you see something you love broken, you want to fix it. I think that may be the best definition of the requirements of citizenship that I've ever heard. When you see something that you love that's broken, you want to fix it. And so in his case, he got a trash bag from someone else who was working and got down on his hands and knees and started trying to fix it. Perhaps character nowadays sounds like an old-fashioned notion. I think it's something that we have to have, though, because if we can hold others up to these expectations of character, and if we can work on our own character at the same time, That's going to be how we wind up getting closer to building the beloved community that Martin Luther King Jr. talked about. Think about the people who we allow to be influential in our lives. Politicians, writers, celebrities. What if we made one of the conditions for that character, and specifically these 6 pillars of character? With every election, you can always find a voting guide on every candidate, and it'll tell you where they stand on gun control and reproductive rights, immigration, all kinds of things like that. And that's very important. But what if we also had a guide, a grid, where we could go down these 6 pillars of character and see a rating on them for each of these? The more we work on our own character, the more we will be able to, when we are in that crucial moment of crisis, be able to operate out of our values. It doesn't mean being perfect. It doesn't mean holding other people to perfection. That's one thing that I hope we can outgrow, this idea that if someone from the past was not perfect, that we are going to then ignore all of the wisdom that they shared with us. MLK was not perfect. He was flawed in many ways. Everyone is flawed in many ways. But our religion is one that says, yes, we're not perfect, but we can keep trying to get better. In the 1700s and 1800s, the Unitarians, especially William Ellery Channing, had this phrase that they used, salvation by character. The idea that your salvation would come about through good works and through the development of your moral character. Now, I still like to bring in some of what the Universalists said about grace. I think that's an important concept too. But the Unitarians had this idea that the purpose of church was to learn how to do good and to be good. And that if we could simply work on that, that so many of the problems we had in the world could be solved. For me, I'm going to be looking a little closer at each of these pillars of character, maybe even meditating on a different one every day and thinking about how it pertains in my life. I think that it is time to judge people for the content of their character. But first thing, I'll start with me.
Guide my feet while I run this race. Guide my feet while I run this race. Guide my feet while I run this race. For I don't want to run this race in vain. Hold my hand while I run this race. Hold my hand while I run this race. Hold my hand while I run this race. For I don't want to run this race in vain. Race in vain. Stand by me while I run this race. Stand by me while I run this race. Stand by me while I run this race. For I don't want to run this race in vain. Race in vain. Search my heart while I run this race. breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. Breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out.
Thank you so much for joining us today, and thank you for all of the volunteers who help make this service possible. Our readers, our producers, our musicians, we are so grateful to have you. After this service, we have what we call fellowship time, and everyone is invited to come to that. It takes place in a Zoom room where first we kind of meet as in a large group, and then we are broken into random smaller groups where we can just kind of check in with each other, maybe even discuss something that this service brought up for us. And if it's your first time, you are welcome to come to that fellowship time, but you are also welcome to click on the link at liveoakuu.org that says Just for Visitors. You'll be able to go in and ask any questions that you may have about this community and the things that we do here. This next week, I know that it is full of hope. It is also full of fear, expectations, concerns. Stay in touch with us here at Live Oak because none of us are going through this alone. Go in peace.
Soon the day will arise when we will be together, and no longer will we live in fear. And the children will smile without wondering whether on that day thunder clouds will appear. Wait and see what a world there can be if we share, if we care, you and me. Wait and see